Hello and welcome to the Movie Bears podcast. I'm Brad Harris, and along with my wonderful co-host, we review films either current or classic, all with a lovable, husky, hairy, huggable bear twist on the show. And this week we are coming at you with a current film, premiered South by Southwest, moved to wide release, The Lost City, starring Sandra Bullock, Channing Tatum, and Brad Pitt is out there for everyone to see now. And we're going to be talking about that film, as well as sharing some of our thoughts from the Oscars, which, relative to recording, just happened a couple of days ago. The internet is still ablaze, and we got some thoughts we want to share. We'd also love to hear your thoughts. I see a few folks have already joined in the live broadcast. Welcome. Glad to have you. Hello. Feel free to use the live chat. Let us know your thoughts. We'll share some of them on the air as we go. We got a whole lot to talk about, but before we can dive into any of it, let me introduce you to those co-hosts I mentioned. Jim Pugliafico is with us here in the virtual studio. Babe, how's it going?
It's going good. Thanks. I'm happy to be here. We've got some stuff to talk about today. Got a movie, got Oscars. So that means, there's so many things to talk about. I don't want to tip my hand, obviously, but we've got a full show coming your way.
That we do. If we were an Oreo, we'd be double stuffed because there's that much creamy goodness to enjoy.
I'm not going to touch that one.
I will. I fucking love double stuffed Oreos. Will Lindis just was heard on the show. Let's formally introduce him. Hey, Will, how you doing?
Hey, Brad. Hey, Jim. Hey, everyone tuning in live and checking this out later. Yeah, Oscars are a lot of fun, and it's going to be fun to break this one down with Brad and Jim and see where we landed on all of the highs and, let's say, lows of the evening.
Indeed. As Jim says, I think the show is going to slap.
Yeah, this episode's going to be a bop.
Mm-hmm.
This one's really going to hit the spot.
We apologize now. Anyway, all right. Well, let's do this. We got a lot to talk about. Let's just dive right in. Of course, the Oscars happened on Sunday, relative to when we're recording. It's been a couple of days now that we've had to sit with, all of the winners, all of the things that went down on that broadcast, all of the craziness. I want to preface our discussion by saying we can totally talk about the Will Smith thing, but I really hope that most of what we talk about is, of course, the filmmakers, the actors, all of the wonderful things that happened, as opposed to just one sour note. But where do you guys want to start?
Oh, boy. Well,
should we pull the Band-Aid off of that real quick?
I think maybe we should get it out of the way. Get it done.
Yeah. Let's get out of the way.
Take our medicine.
Let's get
all right. So, Will, what are we ripping the Band-Aid off of? Explain it in case anybody out there did not watch and see what happened.
All right. In case you didn't watch the Oscars or didn't see any of the clips that were shared like a machine gun blast to the face across social media the last 2 days. During the Oscars telecast, there was a section where comedian Chris Rock was doing a bit of a bit before presenting the Best Documentary Feature nominee and winner. And in doing so, he was doing that thing that presenters sometimes do where they take pot shots at different people that are sitting there in the audience. And one of the pot shots that he made was in relation to a medical disability that Jada Pinkett Smith has. It was a not okay joke. And the response to that was Will Smith, married to Jada Pinkett Smith, storming the stage, smacking Chris Rock, and then yelling a few obscenities from the audience. So that's literally everything that anyone would talk about. While in the telecast itself, it was heavily censored. In other countries, it was not. And those unedited clips quickly made it to social media, and you could hear everything that was being said. And now today, everyone has a hot take. Everyone knows, everyone on social media I know is either on Team Will or Team Rock, choosing who to cast their side with. And it's frustrating to me. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Because what I saw was basically two people who did not do the right thing. And in doing so,
Ruined it
created
for
a
everybody.
situation where, yeah, like there were a lot of monumental moments at the Oscars themselves that I think are worth celebrating, and no one aside from us are going to talk about those monumental things. So just because a thing happened between two people doesn't mean we have to pick sides. People, hell, even the people that are
Right.
involved in it have apologized to one another. Whether or not it's sincere or not doesn't matter. We don't have to. We're not unless your last name is Rock or Smith.
Well, your
God
first
damn it.
name is
Smith's a
Will
pretty
or
common
Chris.
name. Yeah.
If your first name is Will or Chris,
Yeah.
you know.
Unless you're one of the people involved, you don't really have a any skin in the game. So, take it for the oddity that it was. A weird thing that happened on our television screens. It's, you obviously can talk about it, but don't personally take sides on it, because again, you're not one of those people. You haven't had to endure what those people have endured. You don't have to experience what they had experienced, and we don't have to throw our hat in the ring. My 2 cents.
Yeah, and so those of us watched it live, Brad and I, and I'm assuming you did, Will, as well. Got a totally different experience, I think, than people like going back on YouTube and watching clips later. When the thing first happened, I was watching it, and Chris Rock is doing his thing, and we're all chuckling or not chuckling, if not whatever. And then the thing happens, and I really, truly, honestly thought it was a bit. You know what I mean? Like somebody walks from the audience, front row, up to the stage. It's I thought it was like a stuntman slap. You know what I mean? To Chris Rock. And haha, this is going to be funny. But then it kind of continued on, and there was a lot of words said after, that were by the way muted out of the broadcast that I saw. And later we came to find out what it was. But it played like a bit at first, and then but everybody was kind of stunned, and then you start thinking, well, why would they do that bit and act like they're so mad? Apparently that wasn't a bit. Unfortunately, all that, at least for me, really tarnished, not just this Oscars ceremony, but it just tarnished the whole idea of this industry getting together and these personalities and celebrities getting together to celebrate movies. It just like tarnished the whole thing. I don't know if I'll be able to look at the Oscars again without really thinking of that moment. I don't know that I can put it straight out of my head. And that's unfortunate. I think that's the biggest damage that was done in my mind is, certainly the honorees from that night, their experience was muted by this or overshadowed by this, I think, in some way. And we can argue whether it was or it wasn't, but for me, it was anyway, as a viewer. I think it's bad because there were some great things that happened. We talked about Sundance film from last year, right? Summer of Soul, right? The documentary, right? Got a win for documentary feature, right? With Questlove, right after that. And that was a tough thing to even pay attention to while, in your mind you're still stinging from what you just saw. But yeah, there were some great things. I want to focus on those great things, but like I said, it's just a shame that something like that had to happen.
Yeah, I agree. And I kind of question, how things were addressed in the moment. Is it really permissible for someone to just get up and go on stage, much less get up, go on stage, physically assault somebody, and not be asked to leave? I realize, Will Smith, they probably, whoever's in charge probably knew that he had won an award or suspected that he did. My guess is that's why he was allowed to stay. But like, I can't get past like allowing someone who just got physically violent with someone on stage, being allowed to stay there. And I agree with you, Will. I don't think either of them was right. I think the joke was in poor taste. But I think it sends a message that violence is okay, especially, when Will Smith is winning an award for playing someone who, in the film refused to resort to violence over words, being a role model, to his daughters and community. It was just icky. It was gross. So I'm really glad that an apology has been issued from Will Smith. I don't think Chris Rock has officially apologized for the joke. At least not that I've read. I don't know. But I don't know about you guys, but I kind of feel ready to like move past it and like let's celebrate, the other stuff that's actually worth, I think the juice from the squeeze,
And hopefully the takeaway from this for the Oscars for next year is going to be just like maybe they, we've seen it with with the Ricky Gervais a few years ago where he came out and was doing a bunch of shitty jokes as well. Maybe what this means is that they'll better vet and better prepare their presenters in the future as well, so that we can even in future years also focus on the film. So I am excited by some of the wins that we had. Were there any that really stood out to the two of you?
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, I was blown away that Koda won Best Picture. I'll just start there. I'm not really on film Twitter because it would drive me crazy. But Jim, you were telling me that film Twitter was kind of blowing up before the Oscars about Koda being nominated and potentially winning. So I did some research. I went and I was looking at some of those tweets and oh my God, like people calling this movie pedantic and, it's for lowbrow people who don't understand high art film. I just wanted to reach through the computer and talk to people, not hit them because violence isn't okay. But I just wanted to be like, what? Like, that's such a shitty thing to say. And then, of course, when Koda won, a lot of these film critics are like, well, this film pleases the lowest common denominator of America. It's good that they got their win, but clearly, the high art film should have taken, the award. And I don't know. That irks me. But it makes me really happy that those people got it fucking stuffed in their face because Koda won. And so take it.
I don't know if I like,
right, well,
I don't know if I like
there was a certain intellectual gatekeeping going on
Yes.
on film Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the people I'm talking about. Not like people who are upset or sad that their favorite movie didn't win. Just the people that were being so shitty about it. Those are the ones I'm like, eat it.
I get that. I guess my point is less about that. I think it's a well-deserving film. Well, not my pick, but I think it's good to be in the mix, and I'm glad that it won for what it's it really captures that part of technique is like emotional resonance, and that's the thing that it does really well is captures emotional resonance. There's a lot of ways to capture technique aside from just cinematography, strength and direction, acting. Emotional resonance is one of those key points, and Koda does a brilliant job of that. And I think that's why it deserves to be in the discussion where it's at. But the one thing that I'm worried about is that it translates Koda into a film that is sort of becomes like a volleyball, sort of like pushed back and forth, take this, take the, and I get what you're saying, Brad, but
political football.
It becomes like a thing where like, I think it overshadows to me a little bit of like, just how cool a movie Koda is. Right. And not diminishing what you were saying, Brad. I just more the overall conversation about it, like has been, man, it's sucked the sales out of like a good film and like an amazing performance by all of them did a really good job. But Troy Katzer got that supporting actor win.
That was another
and
highlight.
It was well deserved. It was very well deserved. Probably the highlight of the ceremony of the entire thing for me was when the supporting actress from Minari from last year,
Yu Jung-yoon,
who did the award, like she was out there, she was very sweet, just and then she signs when before he comes out, and then when she realizes what he's about to start doing, she offers and takes the statue so that he can continue to sign. It was just It was such a nice moment.
was a
It was
sweet
such a
moment.
nice moment, and it was such a genuine moment. And those are the moments when I think back across the Oscars. There's over the years, there's bits, there's moments of like this comedian doing this, or like this sketch about this, or this La La Land Moonlight fuck up. Like those are the big things that people like joke about remembering. But I think the things that really strike me most are the incredibly sincere or fun or funny or whatever speeches. I think about Olivia Colman when she won for The Favorite, and just absolutely lit up my television screen as she did her awkward, funny acceptance speech. And I got some of that with Troy Katzler here. It was such a genuine moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was definitely another highlight. Both the presentation by Yu Jung Yoon, I think her name is, from last year's winner of the Best Supporting Actress. That was great. I thought another moment was and Jessica Chastain's, regardless of whether
Yes.
regardless of whether you back that horse in the race, whatever. I thought, she was really classed it up with her speech about, LGBT queer acceptance, or acceptance of all people, and speaking back against some of the laws that are targeting those people. I think that needed to be said. I'm glad she did it, because, I don't know if Tammy Faye were still here. I like to think that she'd be part of that, right? I think she was kind of, in a way, kind of a pioneer in the movie. The Eyes of Tammy Faye touched on this a little bit, and I think they showed a clip from that, from the movie, from that scene, which was very powerful. When Tammy Faye interviewed I don't remember the gentleman's name who had HIV and was speaking to her on a live broadcasted thing, and it was great. And the movie, really, she did a great job in the movie. I'm glad she won. Her acceptance,
and they even
was great.
used that moment as the they do the little pre-reel before each nominee is announced. They even used that scene for it, which is cool.
Right.
Yeah, that was great. I mentioned Summer of Souls win. Like I said, I wish it hadn't followed the moment where all the air was sucked out of the Dolby theater, and that's too bad that happened. But it was a great win. It was a great film. I loved it. One of the touchstones of the year for movies for me. Did you want to talk about another highlight that I thought? I want to mention this one. It happened toward the end. I think it was for Best Picture. Was it Lady Gaga and Liza Minnelli?
Yeah,
When
that
Liza
was such
Minnelli
an
came out?
incredible moment. Just the way Lady Gaga to Liza was like recognizing she was struggling, and she's like, "I've got you." And she really was like, listen to them cheer for you, like they totally love you.
Right.
I cried when all that went down.
And Liza, she's a Best Actress winner, I believe. Not sure about that, but I
believe so. For Cabaret.
I think she's won at least one time, maybe more. Great singer, great actor. So it was great to see her get up on the stage, and Lady Gaga was so classy in the way she kind of handled that. Unfortunately, I did see some kickback on. I need to stay off. I need to stay off Twitter. I just need to stay off Twitter. I did see some kickback on Lady Gaga for this, for what she did. Kind of turning what I thought was a sweet thing into like, oh, she's doing it to like self, to draw attention to herself or whatever. But I'm not sure I buy all that. It's out there. I'm just telling you it's out there.
She did anything but put the attention on herself.
I'm just telling you it's out there.
Well, can we also just say this? Lady Gaga doesn't run the Oscars. She didn't say, you know what, guys, I'm Lady Gaga, and I would like to have myself and Liza Minnelli present the final award of the evening. And no one can say anything to stop me.
Yeah.
That's not what fucking happened, guys.
Exactly.
This is a person who, it was the 50th anniversary of Cabaret, which Liza Minnelli won the Oscar for. And this was Lady Gaga, who is a notable actress who was in House of Gucci this year, and is a personality and the type of person that you would expect on stage. Put the two together, especially considering she has a connection through like Tony Bennett, stuff like that. It's like it's if you're a programmer for the Oscars, this makes sense to do. And if you're someone like Lady Gaga, who is again like I don't know what she's I don't know what Lady Gaga is like behind, she could be an absolute fucking monster behind closed doors. Doesn't matter. What I do know is that this at least rang sincere, and it feels a little conspiracy theorist to try to turn it into something that it's not.
Yeah, and that's exactly how I read it, Will. Leave it to social media to, fuck up a good thing, but that's exactly what happened. I also want to talk about there were two moments on the Oscar presentation that kind of bugged me. One was the Oscars cheer moments. They did a little countdown of Oscars cheer moments. And then they did Oscar fan favorite films, I think. Is that what it was? Where they had like a mini countdown of, people who of films or moments that people, kind of like audience favorites kind of thing.
Right.
Did you guys remember that?
Yeah.
I like that they did that.
How did Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead get picked as the most popular title? Something is up.
This is what I didn't like about it. Is that these types of things. It was, we talk about like film Twitter. There's another part of film Twitter too, which is sort of like the release the Snyder cut side of things. And so those people are very vocal and are very good at spamming things. The same thing with Johnny Depp has a very, very large like Twitter retweety fan base. So a movie by Johnny Depp that no one saw from last year became, I think it was the third film on there. And again, it's, you start to question like why, like, oh, okay, so more people liked that Johnny Depp movie than Spider-Man No Way Home or whatever it is. And it's I don't necessarily have a problem with them doing that. I have a problem with the way that it played out, because it rewards like a stuffing the ballot type thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I really like that they do these things, because I think it brings more casual movie fans into the celebration of film. I think it's something that just draws them in and helps them to feel like this is for them too. It's not just about rich people jerking each other off, But I agree with you, Will. I think there's got to be some kind of mechanism that can be employed so that like one person can't vote 30,000 times, and then multiply that by thousands and thousands and millions. Like there's got to be a way. It's 2022. We have the technology.
I'd like to round robin a couple of things that I think make that are worth calling out. We had a few notables, like we mentioned, Koda taking Best Picture was great representation for the deaf and Koda communities. Since Apple TV Plus was the ones that picked that up, I believe this is the first streaming platform to take Best Picture. So that is a notable moment. I'm a big fan of Drive My Car taking international feature. That's you can watch it right now, HBO Max. Ariana DeBose became the very first Latina actress to win an acting award in 60 years, since Rita Moreno, actually, and the first openly queer woman of color to be nominated or win an acting category. Jane Campion is now the third female in the history of the Oscars to take Best Director for what she did with The Power of the Dog, which is amazing and is on Netflix. So what I love so much about the Oscars is like all of these films that I just mentioned. Koda's on Apple TV Plus. Drive My Car, it's on HBO Max. West Side Story, it's on Disney Plus, HBO Max. Power of the Dog, it's on Netflix. If you watch the Oscars and you were like, oh boy, the slap, fine. If you watch the Oscars and are like, oh boy, there were a lot of movies that were that won awards and were presented, some of which I liked, some of which I hadn't even heard of. most of them you can watch right now. This is the age of streaming, and I strongly encourage you, don't let the takeaway from the Oscars be one guy hit another guy. Let the takeaway from the Oscars be a bunch of great films won awards, and maybe fill some of your time by checking some of those out. They may not all be for you, but they're all worthy of being in this conversation. They're all good films, so check them out.
Well said.
Indeed. Absolutely. Well, fellas, we got a movie to review as well. We could probably talk a whole lot more about the Oscars, but what do we think about switching gears and getting to our review of The Lost City?
Interestingly enough, I did not see Shawn Mendes at the Oscars.
Wait, didn't we
He
just
was
see him
there.
something?
He was there, wasn't he? I don't know.
He was there, and it's from The Lost City, Jim.
Yeah, I was doing the hashtag.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But what were
But
we
yeah, I
watching?
guess maybe he was there.
Was it the Oscars we were watching? And
It was the
you pointed him
Oscars.
out? And
He
you
was a
pointed him out?
presenter. I was
Oh,
like,
was he?
there's
Oh,
Shawn
that's Shawn
Mendes.
Mendes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey, let me. Hey,
Oh,
my favorite moment of the Oscars was hashtag Shawn Mendes.
Oh,
I couldn't
goodness.
pick Shawn Mendes out of a lineup. I'm sorry. I don't know.
That's okay.
I know
That's
my
okay.
name, not my.
I
Yeah.
couldn't. But nothing
It's all
against
good.
Sean. I just don't know. I just don't know enough about him yet.
I didn't even know who he was until after we saw The Lost City, and I asked our friend Kevin, who the fuck is Shawn Mendes? And he knew everything about him. But
Yeah.
Kevin's also like 20 years younger than I am, so maybe there's something to that.
Thank
idea
God for the millennials or Gen
being
Zs
more
and
plugged in.
millennials.
Ooh, the top Google searches are Sean and Camilla still together.
Oh,
I don't know.
I don't know that
You'll
other
have to
person.
Google and find out.
I only know
Camilla
Sean.
Cabela.
I've only known
Camilla
Sean
Cabela.
for 4 days, and I don't know the other person.
All
All right. Well, listen, we're going to dive into our review of The Lost City, starring Sandra Bullock, Channing Tatum, and Brad Pitt. If you have not seen The Lost City, don't worry. We got you. If you want to hear our impressions, feel free to hang out with us for about 10 minutes. We'll very briefly tell you our initial thoughts, and then we'll give you a fair warning before we open things up to spoilers. That way, if you need to step away, that is 100% completely fine. So don't worry about it. Stay with us. For those of you who are watching live, we'd love to hear your thoughts about The Lost City in the chat. Feel free to drop those in. If you're listening through the magic of digital tape delay on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, however you access your podcast, we'd love to hear your thoughts too. Hit us up on Twitter at MB Podcast or message us, comment to us on Facebook. Just look for Movie Bears Podcast. Here we go. Officially, we begin our review of The Lost City. All right, Jim, very briefly, give us a little bit of setup for this film, which of course premiered at South by Southwest and then released wide pretty much immediately after. This is part of our South by coverage, so seems fitting to talk about this film. What's it about, and what did you think?
Well, yeah, this was part of the lineup at South by Southwest. One of the headliners, I believe, right? Will, I don't know. You probably know better than me.
It was. It wasn't the opening night film, but it was in that headliner block. I think it played on like night 2 or 3, somewhere in that ballpark.
Right. So, I'm sure Channing was there. I'm sure Sandra Bullock was there. Unfortunately, we weren't there, so we weren't able to catch this one at South by. But as part of our South by coverage, we ran right out, saw this movie as soon as we could after its wide release, which was fortunately like a week or so after South by ended. So we have The Lost City. This is a new movie directed by Adam and Aaron Nee, which I assume are brothers. I'm not sure. They probably are. This is an adventure, a rom-com, I guess you could call it. Adventure, comedy, romance kind of story. I'll read the plot summary here that's non-spoilery. A reclusive romance novelist on a book tour with her cover model gets swept up in a kidnapping attempt that lands them both in a cutthroat jungle adventure. So here we have it. We have Sandra Bullock playing the role of the romance novelist here, and Channing Tatum as her cover model. He is that's it. Basically, if you've seen romance novels, you've seen the covers, and you can imagine Channing Tatum as one of those dashingly handsome, sexualized characters from the novel. Yeah, we went to see this out in the theaters, which was, it's always nice to get out in the theaters. And it looks like a lot of people went out to see this movie this weekend. I think it's done fairly well. I wish I liked this movie more than I liked it, unfortunately. And I think I may be one of the few people in the world, maybe, who just didn't, this film just didn't really click for. I'm going to say up front, I don't think this is a bad movie in terms of like how it's made. I think it's competently made. Obviously, the actors in here are, certainly able actors and capable actors. I just think, for me anyway, the story seemed tired. The comedy was flat for me, like really flat in terms of laughs, which, I mean, when I go see an adventure comedy movie, I want to see some real adventure. I'd like to get some laughs out of it. And I'll be honest, when these trailers first came out, yeah, the trailers make it look like kind of a silly, rom-com-y kind of movie. And I'm like, Brad might roll his eyes at the trailer. And I was like, you know what, Brad, that movie could surprise us. That movie could be really, really good. Like if the comedy's really snappy, which I know that Sandra Bullock can deliver from Miss Congeniality, right? And I know her serious acting chops are there from Gravity,
Blindside.
right? Gravity. And I always like Channing Tatum and everything. I mean, Magic Mike is kind of one of my favorite, like, guilty pleasure movie franchises, to be honest. But somehow the pieces just didn't come together for me in this movie. I don't know if it was just a weak script. I don't know if the jokes seemed old and just not like snappy enough or edgy enough, whatever. And of course, the adventure part of it, I mean, we've seen this 100 times. Nothing new here. I think it just didn't hit well with me. I think a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, may really love this audience if you could truly go in and just kind of put expectations aside, which I fail to do, obviously, and kind of enjoy this with some popcorn and your family or your loved ones or friends. You might have a good time with this. I just didn't, unfortunately. So I cannot recommend this. I just think there are stronger movies in this genre that you could go watch right now, and not have to spend your money on this. But again, I'm probably in the minority, so we'll see.
All right. Well, Jim, thanks so much for sharing your initial thoughts on The Lost City. Will, how about you? Did this trip your triggers? Did it make you want to leave the movie theater? Where did you come down?
I think I came down a little more positive than Jim. Not a ton more positive than Jim. I think this movie is, as with all movies, is broken down into like a 3-act structure, or not all movies, most movies, broken down into a 3-act structure. The first act of this movie, I think, is really strong. I think there's a lot of really good setup. I started to really become engaged with the characters. I thought there was some good laughs up front. We really got to see the characters like riffing off of each other and sort of seeing the push and pull relationship dynamic between the two main characters, the Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum character, as well as a surprise cameo that I think ended up making things spicy and fun. As the movie wore on, and I think this happens in a lot of adventure comedies for me, the adventure and the plot has to take over, and then the comedy and the characters sort of get sidelined. And I think we got to see a little bit of that here. For what it's worth, I will say, if you're going to watch one adventure movie in 2022, I would take this over Uncharted. I thought this was a better movie than Uncharted. I felt like this had more. This at least was confident enough in what it was trying to be, the message that it wanted to have, and the personality that it wanted to imbue within its like locations and its characters. Even if it didn't fully live up to those, I think it had a clearer vision, whereas Uncharted felt like it was drawing so much influence from all of the games that it diffused itself over itself. Sandra Bullock, it's almost easy to take for granted just how much of a star she is, right? This is a person who, I mean, when she's in a film, she's a leading lady, right? You know, you don't have to, yes, Channing Tatum's in this as well, but Sandra Bullock gets butts and seats. I think that that's something to be said, especially for, I mean, let's face it, Hollywood is not good for, not really good at promoting and allowing a platform for women over a specific age, except for in a few specific circumstances. But Sandra Bullock has this universal appeal that makes her, I don't want to say immune to that, but resistant to a lot of that. Channing Tatum, I think, is becoming one of the funnier people of his style. Like, I think that there's not a lot of people that can pull off like comedic timing himbo the way that Channing Tatum can, and it's refreshing. Yeah, I wish the script was a little better. I wish the ending was a little better. The Daniel Radcliffe character that shows up in here, again, he has some stuff to do, but it sort of fizzles out at the end. And I didn't really love like the way everything landed, but I didn't hate this movie at all. I didn't dislike this movie at all. It's a perfectly fine watch. I just don't know that it's like a rush out and see it in theaters watch. This is like a you're looking for something on a Wednesday night, and like this is a perfect Redbox rental. So if that makes sense, like what are we gonna watch that we two people with different tastes might both enjoy? Let's check this one out. This one looks fun.
All right. Will, thank you for sharing your thoughts. It's been a while since we've got that sweet, sweet Redbox money. So thanks for dropping. I'm just kidding. We don't get any money.
Redbox, throw us the cash.
Look for your Redbox in front of your local.
I was going to make a reference to like, this is a good one to check out on streaming, but it's like, I feel like the last 2 years or so has sort of like made that a moot statement as well. Like, it's like everything's on streaming at some point. So
just go to your local Blockbuster and rent it. Oh wait.
Yeah.
Well, for me, this movie, there were some things that I liked. The performances, Sandra Bullock, I thought was fine. Channing Tatum was fine. I do kind of like some of the chemistry and the interaction between them. I actually really loved Brad Pitt in this. I thought he was really funny, and some of the things they did with his character were unexpected and interesting. I want to give a shout out to Davine Joy Randolph, who played the assistant of Sandra Bullock's Loretta character.
Yeah.
It's great to see people of size, like, not being shown constantly eating, not being shown dressing like the slobbiest person ever. She was in sharp outfits. She was a powerful woman. She was, on top of things. It was awesome. It was really great to see that. I wish Daniel Radcliffe had a little bit more to work with and to do here. We don't get a lot of him outside of Harry Potter movies. And how long has it been since we've had a Harry Potter movie? They're just, I don't know. I wanted more. I liked some of the location jumping. I appreciated some of the visuals, the scenery. I like the idea of, it's in the trailer, like a writer is writing her story, and then she's questioning herself. Why are these snakes here? Why does this person just happen to, delete? Like, I think that's so funny as someone who enjoys writing as well. Those are questions that I ask myself when I'm writing short stories or, fiction of some kind. Like, would this really happen? Is this really just too convenient? So I like those little elements of realism there. But I think overall, this movie it didn't do it for me. You guys know me. Comedy is a weird thing for me. I was really surprised to hear, Jim, that you didn't like this more than you did. Because I'm usually the one that's like, ooh, boo, comedy. Didn't hit for me. I didn't like it. So it's actually really affirming for me to hear that you, Jim, and you, Will, it maybe didn't hit as much for. I do find it interesting, though. Like, we're seeing the movie, audience all around us. It was probably a half full theater, and people were laughing like crazy. And I'm looking around at these people laughing, and I'm like,
what am I missing?
Am I in the same movie? Like, what is the problem here? Why am I not laughing like
It's
this?
obviously us. It's obviously us.
Right. I was
It's
a little
obviously-
jealous of their experience. I don't think I really came in with a lot of expectations. I figured it was going to be like Romancing the Stone, but a little more modern day. It's fine. I don't think it's the most terrible movie in the universe. Will, I agree with you. I think I like this better than Uncharted. But this isn't something that like I'd be like, man, if you really want to see a good movie right now, there were like 45 movies from the Oscars that you could go see right now that are amazing, but no, watch this instead. But, if you're flipping through the channels 3 months from now and it's on TNT with commercial breaks and you're looking for something to watch, I think this is fine. You might have fun with it, but this is not a rush out and go see it for me either.
Yeah, the date night movie, and not like a romantic movie, although there's romance in it. But it's like, it's the type of movie that like you're not gonna like take it. Maybe you will, but you're probably not gonna take like a date to like watch like Requiem for a Dream or just like something like Soul Crushing or something like that. You want something kind of fun and kind of bouncy, and this hits those spots. So I think it's also, so it sounds like we're all kind of in the same-ish page, although I am also surprised. Very surprised. I think that I was the slightly highest on this one, and I wasn't expecting that for this type of film.
We're full of surprises, Will.
I love
surprises.
Let me just say this. I love that however many years we've been doing the podcast now, 10 years, 9 years.
Jesus.
I don't even know anymore.
Oh, almost
I think
8.
I think it's 9. We started in 2012.
Yeah, so
right?
it's 12 to 12. So we're
December
on our
December of 2022 will be our 10-year anniversary. That'll be the big milestone.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe that's when we stop doing the show. I don't know. Who knows? We won't talk about it. but I think it's awesome that 10 years later, 431 episodes later, we can still surprise each other. Like all the time we see movies and I'm like, yep, I think I know exactly what Will thinks about this. Or, oh man, I think Jim would really dig this, because I think we're so in tune with each other's views sometimes.
Yeah.
I think it's great when we can kind of come out of left field like that with each other.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And
I want to say one thing about this film that I do like. I like that at least from what I see in reports, this film is doing well. It's it's a what's the word I'm looking for? It's an original.
Yeah, it's an original IP.
It's original IP. It's not based on something else. It's not a remake. And it's doing well, and it's bringing people back into theaters. As at least the people who feel safe enough and are hopefully vaccinated and or masked and safely distanced. But yeah, I feel good that a movie like this, that's not a superhero movie with Marvel or DC or whatever, can do well in the movie still, right?
Yeah,
so,
right.
And I think that's a good thing about this. Now, whether the movie executed well, for me, that's a whole different story. It's not. That's not what I'm talking about.
We want we want movies to do well because movies beget more movies, right?
Right.
Studios make money, they'll put out more movies. And if we send the message that, look, I love franchise films. There's a lot of fun franchise films out there, and they're really cool to watch. But I love these films that sort of sit in this was not a big budget movie. This wasn't a small indie film. I don't think this is quite mid-budget. It's a little higher than mid-budget, but it's not like a $300 million like Star Wars film or anything like that. I love that a film of this size can do well.
I think it would have been small budget, but when they hired Brad Pitt, that put him over the top.
Yeah.
Brad, do you want to hear some interesting trivia about the directors?
I do.
Oh boy, Brad, you're gonna love this.
You're gonna love this.
I think I know what Will say.
So the Nee brothers have been their next project. So Netflix is making a live action Masters of the Universe, and they're directing it.
Oh no.
Yes.
No.
Yes. I looked that up too when I was looking up the Aaron and Adam Nee, I guess,
Yeah.
like what they'd done in the past, and then I saw Masters of the Universe is in production or pre-production or something, and I'm like, oh boy, I don't know if I should mention that to Brad on the show or after the show.
Now, to be fair, the guy that they're co-writing it with, he helped write things like, I mean, I guess some of these are stronger than others, but I mean, he helped like write Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1, the one that's coming out pretty soon.
Okay.
He was in on Shang-Chi. He was in on Ant-Man. He was in on Godzilla. He was in on Wonder Woman 84. He was in on Mortal Kombat. So I mean, the guy's written a lot of like these larger franchise films, or at least co-written with them. This is David Callahan. Yeah, gosh, just reading the history of this is the separate podcast, but you should read the history of the Masters of the Universe reboot. It is like basically every year someone buys the script from someone else, but I feel pretty good about Netflix actually getting this one out because they do have a shooting date.
Well, Netflix is pretty, I mean, not to get on a whole side conversation, but I'm a Masters of the Universe junkie and have been ever since I was 2. But I mean, I've been following live action He-Man movie since John Woo was set up to direct it back in 1999. So hopefully it will be good. Hopefully the writing will be fine. I mean, I think from a director sensibility point, this movie was fine. I just think the comedy didn't land for me. And that was a big part of it. But listen, I want to give us room to get into some spoilers because it's getting a little hard to talk about. And I think, that might be a good thing. What do you think, fellas? Are you ready?
Sure.
Yeah. Spoil away.
Sweet. Spoilers for The Lost City are officially fair game, but I'm going to ramble on a little bit to give you time to reach for that pause button and come on back, hopefully, after you've had a chance to see the film, unless you don't care about spoilers, in which case, stay the fuck here. We love, having you with us. But we are going to spoil this movie pretty heavily starting like 20 seconds ago. So just be aware. Fellas, where to even begin?
Is there anything to spoil in this movie, first of all?
Yeah. Yes, there is.
Yeah.
There is. Yeah. So there's one thing that is not a spoiler from the trailers, at least, and that's you get this hunky Brad Pitt character who is. We didn't talk a lot about what the movie is really setting up here, but like when Sandra Bullock gets kidnapped and the Channing Tatum character who's played her cover model goes to rescue her and is not, the adventurous guy that she's written so much about, he tasks this Brad Pitt character who's this like, he's a badass. He's like Liam Neeson from Taken, right? And he's just kicking ass and taking names just all through the jungle. And we see some of that in the trailer. And we also get the feeling that maybe there's going to be like a little bit of a love triangle thing that's going on as like, he's smitten by her, but she's into Brad Pitt. No.
They start on that. They
set that up. They set that expectation up. And then right at the end of like kind of act 1, so to speak, or sort of like, fairly early into the movie, boom, Brad Pitt's character dies. And we'll talk a bit about that, what I mean by that here in a moment, because there's also a moment in the Stinger like where he's not dead. But
we might as well just talk about it.
Spoilers.
But it seems like he gets his brains blown out all over Channing Tatum.
Yeah.
And then it turns out he's still alive. And he's like, how you only use 10% of your brain? Well, that 10% got shot out, so I just switched to another 10%.
Yeah. So I thought that's the thing that could be spoiled is that, I think it is genuinely like a shocking moment, for the most part, when just all of a sudden at that exact moment, just the story arc that's being set up shifts to one of like, oh yeah, the Brad Pitt character is not a part of this. I was wondering as he was like in that exact moment, I'm like, this feels weird. There's something weird going on here. Is he about? And then when his head blew up, I was like, "Oh fuck, yes, they did that."
Yeah.
So I did like that. I like that. That subverted expectations, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's one of those moments where, like, oh god, they just shot, one of the main characters, and then I'm thinking like, oh, Maybe he just got shot in the shoulder and he's not, you know what I mean? And he's not really dead. And then sure enough, he's back at the end of the film. And then I'm thinking, well, maybe there was a scheduling conflict and they didn't have him for a lot of the film and they just decided to write him out suddenly. It's kind of what it felt like. It was just a weird, it was a weird moment. I did like his character though, Babe and Will. I like you guys did. I did like his character, and I think that's what got me the most. I kind of probably would have appreciated the movie more if he was in it more. The one character I did not get at all was the social media. What was her thing? Social media.
Oh, she was a social media person.
Yeah, that was a bad character. That was just a poorly written character that I don't really think had any utility in the story whatsoever, at least that I could recall. But
she brought the Shawn Mendes jokes, Jim. That was her purpose.
She brought the Shawn Mendes jokes. Well, maybe that was it. I don't know, but yeah, that was another thing that got me. And as far as spoilers go, can we talk about Channing Tatum's butt or not butt?
Yeah,
I don't know if it was his butt or not, but let's do it.
Yeah, I haven't been able to determine if it was his butt or not his butt.
You would need more time spent with Channing Tatum's butt to find out for sure.
I volunteer for that. I will take that on for us.
I did see stories that on set it was his butt. Like he, had to supposedly, show his butt to Sandra Bullock or whatever in that scene. But I don't know if what we got on in the movie cut was actually his butt, because strangely enough, it didn't really pan down to his butt. It kind of cut to a shot of what might have been his butt, but I don't know.
Jim is going over this like it's a Zapruder tape, like just like okay. Now, if you look here, it pans down, but when it does, there's a quick cut. It's not Channing's butt.
I'm like, come on, movie, do something for me. And then I'm like disappointed, like, are you really gonna butt and switch me?
Butt and switch.
Anyway.
Wow.
Jesus.
Wow. Yeah. All I know is I don't want leeches on my skin. This movie revalidated that fact.
Yeah, and all I could think about in that scene was the scene from Stand By Me.
Yeah.
Right, where the kids come out of the river crossing or the swamp or whatever they crossed, and they have leeches on them. Right. I think that's. I don't know if it was an homage to that scene or what, but it felt like really they're redoing the leeches thing again. And we did see it in the trailer. To be fair, we had seen it like 4 times in the trailer before the movie, right?
Yeah.
So,
listen, I'm just going to say this. I think that was a cool thing that the movie did, because I can't tell you how many times I've seen movies where people are in fucking jungles wading through rivers and they come out and they don't have any leeches. They didn't get attacked by piranhas. Thank you for adding a little realism. I appreciate it, especially since we got a butt shot out of it.
You know what
Channing's.
You know what joke I really liked, just because it was, I don't know, I feel like the movie did the best when it was playing up a little bit more of the kind of the fucked up things about the situation that are in. And I want to preface this also by saying, like, I don't need this movie to be like some sort of rated R, like weirdness or anything like that. But like the bait and switch with the Brad Pitt character, the leeches. And then the moment that I really enjoyed was when they were trying to trick the guys on the motorbikes. And they did this little thing where one of them crashed into the other and they both went over the cliff. And they just took a moment back and forth of sort of like, it's not really as far, if you really think about it. Like, it was a little quippy. It was a lot quippy. They just quipped back and forth. But it was fun quips. Like, quips work when they're good. And it was 2 characters who were trying to rationalize a terrible thing that just happened to them in the moment. So I liked that a lot. I that was a genuine laugh for me as they were, because it just kept getting better and better as they quipped.
Remind me again. Did the Channing Tatum's character and her character end up together?
Yes.
Or just friends?
Yes.
They did.
They kiss on the beach. Yeah.
Ah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. They're on a beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had a comment come in. I don't know if you folks know this, but when we do this live, there's a little bit of a delay between what we're talking about and what you're hearing. It's not a lot, but there's a little bit of one. And sometimes comments arrive after a moment has passed. But Tony Gilkinson, the amazingly handsome Tony, says not to interrupt on Channing's butt convo. Don't worry, we moved on, but we're moving back. He says, but, get it? Hey, handsome bears. Hey, Tony, good to see you. Welcome.
Hey,
Thanks for joining
Tony.
us.
Hey, Tony.
So, Daniel Radcliffe in this movie ends up on the boat with them at the end. He's the super rich villain or whatever.
Mustache twirler.
What did you guys think of him as a villain?
Daniel Radcliffe was fine in the role. I think the role was underwritten. And that's, I don't think that's Daniel Radcliffe's part. I think he played the part the way it was meant to be played. I think that character got worse for me the more it was on screen. Like the very first scene where he comes in and he like wakes up, or Sandra Bullock wakes up and he's just like, I heard you like cheese, so I got you all the cheese. Cool. That was a cool moment. I'm like, okay, who is this guy? I was very curious. But the more and more it went on, the more and more his motivations just felt very rote. So again, this movie needed, I think, especially with the villain character, if there's like a knob on the control panel for weird, I think you could just turn that up 1 or 2 notches in the villain department, and I think that it like sings a lot more.
Yeah, I'd agree, Will. I think a little more quirkiness or weirdness from that character instead of straight up just villainy would have worked better. Like I don't, we don't really understand why the guy has, thousands of people working for him in the jungle, because he really didn't have that much charisma, or I don't know.
He had money,
he had money. He had money. Maybe he was paying them well. I don't know.
Can we talk about the people he had working for him? Because
I knew that would come to that.
The big muscle bear guy on his team of cohorts. Oh man, why didn't we get to see him shirtless or see his butt? Because he was hot.
I think Channing has it written in his contract that if he's in a movie, that only his butt can be exposed in a movie. Like you can't have more than one.
Only one butt per
movie. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I would. I don't know if this is bad form or not, but I would like to read a comment by someone who is not on this podcast at all. One of my favorite takes on that actor was from friend of the show, Steve, who posted on Facebook. I hope he's okay. I'm sure he will be. He said the sexiest guy in a movie with Tatum Channing, Brad Pitt, and an otterlicious Daniel Radcliffe turns out to be the actor playing the bodyguard with the mustache. He's my MVP of this movie. And I get it. Like, I think there's something about background villains, like, background villains, henchmen, in these types of movies, regardless of whether or not he's hot or not, he is. I think what's important is that they're like, and for some reason or another, like memorable, right? And this character is memorable. He stood out. He's, even if you're not the type to find, big muscle bear guy attractive, he's a guy, he's the burly dude with the interesting mustache. Like when he's on screen, you instantly know what he's doing and why. He's not just a disposable villain. He's like a mini boss. And I like that.
Didn't we have the same type of character in the Uncharted movie as one of the heavies, I think, if I remember right? So? Yeah, I think there was some serious hunk of beef going on in those henchman characters too.
So what I'm hearing from Jim is I need to become insanely rich, and then I need to hire a bunch of mercenaries to go on some sort of globe-trotting adventure, and then I'll be surrounded by beefy henchmen.
I'm just going to go to TBRU next year and handpick them to be part of my harem / brigade of villains. It'll be fine. It'll be great.
That's, I mean, probably easier, and you're probably less likely to get kicked by a stunningly beautiful man out of an airplane and fall into a crocodile-infested waters. But okay, yeah, I get you.
All right, fellas. Any final thoughts on The Lost City?
Not from me. I think I've
Okay.
exhausted
Yeah.
my thoughts on this film.
Yeah, bottom line is it's perfectly watchable, and there's nothing wrong with perfectly watchable. So if you're in the mood for this type of movie, you could literally do worse. It's just like you said before, Brad, it's really hard to be more excited for this one when we just came off of a night when a bunch of top tier films were all presented to us and are all available for streaming right now.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I will say this. This movie was not my favorite movie. I didn't love this movie, but like I've seen so many movies that are worse than this, and I anticipate that we're about to see a movie that's going to be a whole lot worse than this in a week.
Hey,
Which one, Brad? Which one? What are we
I
setting up
heard
for
I
next
heard
week?
great things about Everything Everywhere All at Once. I've just heard great things.
No,
That's
I've heard
the
wonderful
following
things
week.
about.
That's
the
the
following
following week.
I'm
Okay.
talking about fucking Morbius.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks
Yeah,
like
baby.
I hear
like
Morbius
garbage.
sucks.
Bring it.
Oh,
Ah.
good shit there. So, guys, I need your help to put me on the right path with Morbius because I'm bringing a lot of expectations in. So you can keep me honest and try and help me to enter that movie as expectation free as possible. I appreciate it.
I was gonna say I would strongly recommend you check out some of the like the Darkhold Redeemer and stuff like that, comics in the Marvel universe, like the Marvel comic book universe stuff. But I don't know, man. Like, there's something about like sometimes that's a mixed bag. Like, you read the comic books before you watch the movie to hype yourself up, or you watch the comics beforehand and then like are immediately let down that it's like misses the point so severely. So
Well,
I don't know which is better for you.
that's the thing. I mean, I know of Morbius from the Spider-Man cartoons that he has featured in. I've seen him on a couple different Spider-Man animated series, and I like the character a lot. The movie, I don't know. We'll see. I'm not jazzed by the trailers, but will maybe to get the bad taste of the film out of my mouth. If it is bad, it could be really good. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But maybe I'll ask for some comic recommendations after.
Yeah.
You want your expectation lowered, you said, though, right? So that
yeah.
when you go in, maybe you're,
If you can help to lower my expectations so much that I have none, that would be good.
I have 2 words for you. Ready?
Yeah.
Dracula Untold.
Morbius is going to be fucking amazing, guys.
Just remember Dracula Untold.
2000.
Oh,
There's a lot of bad vampire movies, huh?
They're totally.
That's a different podcast.
Because I don't know.
Hey.
I don't know a thing about Morbius. But this trailer makes it look like he's a vampire, kind of. Is he?
Yeah.
Is he a vampire?
Yeah, Morbius. Yeah, gosh, it's gonna. I really hope
we're gonna spin off into a whole nother show.
I know.
We're gonna talk about it next week anyway.
Yeah.
So we might as well just save that load in the chamber and shoot it out when we get there.
Well, we'll get there. But we'll talk afterwards, Brad. I'll send you some comic recs.
All right. I appreciate it. All right. So in case anybody wants to chat with us between now and after we've seen Morbius, Jim, where can people find you online?
Find me on my Twitter account. That is at JJPOutWest, all one word. The first 3 letters are my initials, JJP, and then the words Out West. And you can also find me on Facebook under my real name, Jim Pugliafico.
All right. Thank you so much. And Will, how about for you?
Let's see. Instagram, Twitter, I'm at Whatever Cove. Facebook, I'm William Lindis. All of these things are just puppy pictures right now. It is all puppy pictures all the time right now. You can find me on Letterboxd, where I list and review things. Just search for William Lindis there. TikTok, I'm at the Movie Bear. And a little side plug. We'll be sharing this out once it's ready. But I did a guest appearance on the Find Your Film podcast with friends of the show, Bruce and Hammy, and one of my favorite directors, Maddie Doe, as we drank cocktails and talked about the Laotian film industry and her new film, The Long Walk. So check that out when it is eventually edited and released.
All right.
Okay.
And you can find me on Facebook. Just look for Brad Harris. I'm the one who likely has Chub Chaser Bear friends in common with you. You can also find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at iBradPro. Folks, thanks so much for hanging out with us this week. We love and adore all of you and appreciate your support of the show. We will see you all next time. Take care. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye bye.